All right, guys, it is day 208 of Operation Thunderhead. And yeah, so it's been a while since I've been posting regularly. Kind of had an interesting summer. Had to go through and really discovered a very interesting lesson just about how everything's connected. And one of the things I've been hearing, I got this coaching coach who coaches me how to be a coach with my authoring. And he always says the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And I've really come to see that that is true in more ways than one. And I think one of the biggest things is as we step into creativity, it's really important to love fully, right? And I saw that by by not wanting to be vulnerable in certain relationships and with certain relationships and with certain people and just different things, it actually reduced my capacity to be creative and work hard, right? Because when you get used to holding yourself back in one thing, you start holding yourself back in everything. And so to really give your gift fully and completely, you have to engage in things where you can just go full out. And I saw that I wasn't doing that in a lot of ways. Haven't been doing that. And it's been a year since this whole pandemic thing started, and there's been so much crazy stuff that's happened, and my life has really evolved, and I've had a lot of opportunities to love. And I think in seeing that, I've kind of had a really good chunk sample size to see where my limitations of love are. I've really come to see that, oh wow, like in reality, I'm not nearly as loving or as complete a person as I could be because there's a lot of fear and just a lot of issues that I realize that I have to really look at if I'm going to like move forward. And so I kind of spent the time privately working through that. And I came to the resolution that part of loving fully is sharing your gift out with the world and being vulnerable. So I'm just going to start doing this as often as I can. My goal is to try and do it every day until the end of Operation Thunderhead. So a lot of these videos will kind of just have one current topic or lesson that I have, and I'll just share it based off of what I'm going through and then just share it at the end of my workday. And so I got through today's workday and just wanted to share this idea of loving fully and being completely vulnerable and just really putting yourself out there. And I realized part of loving fully is also allowing yourself to be loved. And you can only do that when you are putting yourself out there. And I think one of the biggest things we always talk about is this sort of idea that in order to live in life, we have to kind of preserve ourselves from authentic feelings. And I realized when you do that, you reduce your capacity to receive love. And that's one of the things that I've struggled the most with is that there are those people who have loved me to an extreme degree, but because I'm closed off to that, I don't see it. And so I end up feeling unloved, not because I am unloved, but because I haven't allowed myself to feel loved. And I think a lot of it is with writing, right? I think for the writers out there and the people who are really going for their dreams, like the creatives, think about the times you've really wanted to go and, write that book or draw that picture or just kind of live life more fully, but you're hindered and buried under, 6 feet of this dirt of these anxieties and these depressions and very unhelpful thoughts, things that aren't necessarily beneficial or helping you moving on in your journey. But there's these hindrances that come up because we pick up this collective baggage that isn't necessarily ours. But because of the world we live in, the standards or our parents, anything, any reason, we ultimately don't fulfill what we're meant to do and we don't become what we ought to. And for me, I had to make a decision because of my inability to really receive love and to be mindful and care for what I had. I lost someone really, really precious to me. Not necessarily lost in the sense, but I recognized that there was a transformation that I had to undergo, and it was uncomfortable, and I wasn't able to maintain the relationship as I would have liked. And it was a big wake up call that not only this relationship, but everything. So from your writing to so from my writing to my career to just the different things that I've dedicated myself to my skills that I'm trying to develop. If you don't appreciate those things and work on them and really live your life, loving fully and completely your life and striving for that happiness and really feeling it in every moment, it completely passes you by, and you end up losing those things because what you don't what you neglect, eventually you will find rejects you, right? And so our focus where our focus goes, our potential grows. And I've seen that when you focus on your problems, when you focus on anxieties, when you focus on the obstacles, those things grow. But as you focus on the possibilities, the love, and the gratitude for the things you have in your life, those are the things that grow. And so, definitely focusing more on a daily practice of making sure that I'm taking care of my dailies and loving more fully. That was the big thing that I realized. It's not necessarily my effort, but a lot of my effort has been misplaced. And it's a matter of finding the right focuses and making sure that each success that I make is building on top of each other, because I've really set out to do things, I've been able to accomplish them. It's simply, spreading myself too thin, as well as not appreciating what's right in front of me. And so that was a really big wake up call, and recognizing that I have an awesome opportunity here. And in losing one opportunity, I guess I see more of a chance to really level up on the opportunities that are in front of me. So I'm doing that more fully. So I guess one thing I want to ask and share with anybody is, how do you think you can love more fully in your life, and what does that mean to love more fully, right? Because I think for me, what I've come to see love means is and capacity, the willingness to grow one's capacity to take the responsibility for the needs and well-being of others, or something perceived outside of yourself. So, you love writing, or you love songwriting, or you love storytelling, anything, by the willingness to take the capacity to grow your capacity in that, right? So if you love writing, you're going to grow as a writer. If you love being close with a person and love that person, you're going to work for their well-being, and you're going to work to be in a relationship with them, and you're going to grow in order to accommodate that. And that's what happens when love is actually in the equation, right? I think we oftentimes use that word to denote lesser forces, right? We'll say love when it's really lust or excitement or even passion. But true love, I think, when you are willing to take on that responsibility, it grows capacity, as well as I think it generally leaves a positive aftermath. And I think the greatest thing about love is that when it's really exemplified and applied, it can turn anything into a fairly positive and constructive, empowering note. So that's one of the things that I really want to encourage everyone to just sort of find in their own lives, whether it be for, your hobbies, or going and building a new career, and especially in your creative careers, and most certainly in your relationships, which I think are the biggest opportunities to really express and build love. And I realize more and more it's super important to be willing to work with people and compensate for them, and even, take the heat for them where you can afford so. Because ultimately that's what love is, right? You take your surplus and you're willing to pour it into another's cup and be there for them. And that's something that I realized those who had loved me were doing for me, but not something that I ever really appreciated or really understood. I'm getting that more now. And as I'm extending to try and do that for others, it helps me be aware of what is actually important and what I actually do have as well, because it's super duper important to recognize the good in your life, and that's something I'm trying to do more of. So you're going to see more updates with Operation Thunderhead moving forward, and I'm slowly locking back in. Try not to be slow, just lock back in and get it. I took a bit of a hiatus because I realized I had stopped the love from flowing in my life, and because I had done that in one aspect of my life, it flowed, or the lack of flow thereof, I suppose, sort of blocked out others. So that's the biggest thing, is that to love, one must love fully, and you can't pick and choose how you love. You just love as best and as well as you can. And I think when we can do that as artists, that allows our art and our craft to flow more easily. We build and we grow, and ultimately we get the relationships and the things we need. So I want to say thank you to everyone who paid attention and watched the video. Take care, and we'll see you guys next time.